Hi, and welcome back. My name is Gonzalo Artiach. I'm a healthcare equity analyst here at ABG Sundal Collier. The next company presenting is Boule Diagnostics, and with us we have here today Jesper Söderqvist, the CEO. Jesper, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Gonzalo, and thank you all for being here this afternoon. My name is Jesper Söderqvist. I'm here together with our CFO, Jan Benjaminsson. So, Boule Diagnostics, let's see if we can, here's a standard disclaimer. So Boule Diagnostics is a global niche player addressing the decentralized market of hematology diagnostics. We provide both instruments and consumables, both to the human and the veterinary market. We have a very attractive business model where instruments installed use consumables for the lifetime of the instruments. And thanks to this business model and a large installed base, we have a large portion of recurring revenue. And today I will talk about some of our business development activities that are ongoing near term. But of course, I will also talk about the investments we're doing in the new product platform to secure the long-term growth and the profitability of Boule. So we address the decentralized hematology market. If you look at the overall hematology market, which includes large laboratories, university hospitals, the market value is about 85 billion Swedish crowns. About 10% of that market is smaller physician office lab, vårdcentraler in Swedish, smaller rural hospitals and laboratories. They typically use benchtop analysis, and that is the market that Boule is addressing. The market value is about 8 billion Swedish crowns. The growth in this segment is fairly modest. However, what we experience since we addressed a lot of the emerging markets is that the market is actually growing faster. Another way to look at the hematology market is to look at what type of instruments are sold. So you can also divide the number of the instruments in how well you can measure the white blood cell population, which divides the market in 3-part and 5-part. Today, our business is mainly in the 3-part segment. However, we see that there's a clear shift towards the 5-part segment, where it started with larger laboratories measuring the white cell blood population more precisely. But we also see this shift also in the decentralized segment. There's no data on how much of instruments are sold in the decentralized between 3-part and 5-part. But if we look at the overall market, about 75% of the instruments are 5-part instruments. So you can see now when we are now developing our platform to have a stronger product offering in the 5-part segment, that will fuel the growth also for our decentralized sales. Last year, a little bit like 10% was in the veterinary market, where we provide instruments to the veterinarians. That market is about the same size as it's about 3 billion Swedish crowns, so it's smaller, but the growth is larger. And what I will talk about today is that we are strengthening our product offering in the veterinary segment, and we also have some new partnerships so that we can grow also in the veterinary segment. So Boule is unique in that we develop both the instruments and all the consumables. We have a product portfolio which consists of both 3-part and 5-part instruments, both for the human and veterinary market. And we also have a clinical chemistry instrument for the veterinary market. For the 5-part instruments we have today are entry-level instruments. And our flagship products are in the 3-part market. And that is also where we have the majority of the sales. Our current 3-part offering has some unique features, such as a very compact autoloader, which gives a walk-away solution for higher volume laboratories. And we also have unique ways to aspire blood. And one patented feature that we have is the micropipette adapter, where you from a single drop of blood can do a complete blood count. The consumables used with our instruments is locked to instruments with an RFID security lock, so that we can control the quality of the testing, but it also means that we protect the consumable revenue from our installed base. Thanks to our development and production capabilities, we have also secured and supplies of white label sales to other hematology providers, which we refer to as the OEM consumables. And that is today started being around 10% of our revenue and is now growing quite fast. So if you look at our business model, it has two main components. One is this razor blade model, where we place instruments that use consumables for the lifetime of the instruments. The other is that we use an indirect business model, where we use distribution partners to market, sell, install, and service our instruments, which means that we really have global reach. We're present in more than 100 countries, and we have some 200 distributors. However, working with distributors is extremely important to be close to the market. Therefore, we have also a number of sales offices in select geographies that really understand the business dynamics, understand the reimbursement systems, and work very closely with the distributors, and also help out with larger tenders. Last year, we started to expand in Middle East and Africa, and that is something which I think will continue to help our growth in the 3-part segments until we launch our 5-part instruments. Today, we estimate that about 152 million diagnostic tests are done on our installed base every year. That, together with our OEM consumable sales account, gives us that we have about 60% of our revenue, our recurring revenue, in terms of consumables. What is also unique with Boule is that we have a multi-brand strategy, where we use a single platform and have 2 product brands in the human market, so that we can penetrate certain markets with dual channels, and that has proven very well. And the 2 strong product brands we have there is Medonic and Swelab. For the veterinary market, we use Exigo. So with this multi-brand strategy, we have been able to penetrate some of the key markets significantly better than with a single brand. So the business model, I think, is best described with this slide. So here you can see the blue bars is the number of instruments placed quarter by quarter during the last 5 years. And as you can see, we have quite a lot of variation in the number of instruments sold and placed every quarter. Whereas the consumable revenue, which is the red line, which is rolling 12 months revenue from consumables, has grown every year until the pandemic hit, and when the decentralized testing stopped for 2020. But now we have seen, since the early 2021, we have seen a continuous growth. And you can see now that we have our consumable sales are back at above our pre-pandemic levels. And but for the instruments, we continue to see this variation. However, the consumable revenue is stable and growing quarter by quarter. If you look at our OEM consumables, which accounted for about 50 million Swedish crowns on a yearly basis some 2 years ago, it has doubled over the last 2 years. And that is thanks to some new OEM agreements. Some of them were with OEM clients that we have had in the past. But we have worked for several years to develop consumables to their new products. And when they launch the products, we benefit from the growth. This is very secure revenue, and typically the supply agreements is for the initial period is 10 years with an extension for another 10 years. And the lifetime of this type of product is typically 20 years. So once you have launched this product, it is very cost effective to sell. And this is something where we started to dedicate resources to some 2 years ago. And we're now starting to build a funnel of some new OEM clients. Many of them are still small, But a few years from now, I expect at least one or two of them to be bigger, so we can continue to see growth in this segment. So looking a little bit about the financials here and now. Some 3 weeks ago, we presented our results for the first quarter of this year. And some of the highlights was that we improved the profitability. We've had a couple of tough years, but we have taken a number of measures which really start to deliver results, which I'm very pleased with. As you know, after the pandemic, there was a couple of years now with a lot of disruption in the supply of components. And the last 2 years, we have spent a lot of money buying particularly electronic components in the spot market, which has hampered our profitability. We see now that the supply chain are normalizing, and that's very comforting to see. But we have also launched an efficiency and saving program in the beginning of the year, which started to give results. Last year, we started to work with Fujifilm. Fujifilm has ambition to become a provider of in vitro diagnostics in the veterinary market. And we have they started to sell our veterinary instrument H400 last year in 3 countries in Southern Europe. After the first installations, they received very positive feedback, and we've had also a very good collaboration with Fuji. So beginning of this year, they expanded this distribution agreement to an additional 5 countries in Europe. So they're now selling our veterinary solutions in 8 countries in Europe. And that's a market where we've had poor coverage for distribution to the veterinary market. So that, I think, is something that will generate sales growth, short term, already this year. And also, we will also launch a new product in the veterinary for the veterinary segment, a 5-part instrument. I'll come back to that already in the second quarter of this year. So we will start to see sales during the second half of this year. So a little bit of the financial summary where we are here and now. As you could see, we have seen growth of consumables, quarter by quarter over the last 2 years. The growth was a bit hampered, but the good thing is that we now increased our profitability. Compared to first quarter last year, our gross margin increased by 3.3 percentage points and 1.5 percentage point versus the last quarter last year. So we're on a good trajectory to improve our profitability. Also, the EBIT increased by 1.1 percentage points. We still have some way to come to our financial targets, but I feel that we have a plan to move towards that as the world has normalized around us. We invested quite a bit of money in our new product platform, 15 million in the quarter, and we had a negative operating cash flow, and that was mainly due to that we had deliveries late in the quarter, so the operating receivables increased this quarter. And we have now seen that many of those customers have paid now during the second quarter. So we have a strong offering, even if that is a smaller portion of our business. So we have a Exigo H400 is our veterinary hematology instruments. It's a 4-part instrument. It's very cost effective. It's very well liked by our customers. We also have a complementary smaller clinical chemistry analyzer, Exigo C200. But just as in the human market, there is a demand and a requirement for 5-part instruments. Therefore, we have developed a entry-level 5-part instruments together with a partner that will be launched now in the end of the second quarter, so that we can start to see revenue from the third quarter. This H50V will be launched in the end of mid this summer, and Fuji will be one of the customers distributing this instrument in Europe. So very exciting. It's been several years since Boule launched a new product, so I'm very pleased that we've come to this milestone, and that will help us also generate growth short term. But of course, our most important strategic investment is in the new product platform. where the first instrument will be a advanced 5-part instruments with an autoloader, so it will suitable for high volume testing. So typically sites going up to 90 tests per day. So the benefit of that is, of course, that it will generate more tests. It will also generate more expensive testing. So as we install this, it will drive our recurring revenue on consumables. But rather than me talking about this product, I thought I will try to show you a movie and have our product manager talk a little bit about what we're doing right here and now. Oh. Wow.
Well, the realization of the new hematology system proceeds really well, and the performance looked great compared with the reference system. Many technologies are also improved with the new systems. For example, the pulse processing that used to be analog is now digital, resulting in much better identification of the cells, which is especially visible on the red cells. The instrument also features 5-angle laser optics that will take the white cell differential and retics count to a whole new level. The system will also be supported by a data management software that will allow our customers to remotely monitor system performance. The new concept moves Boule from being a product provider to being a solution provider.
We have come here to the lab in the US at CDS in Florida, and we have just delivered the first A2 instruments to CDS.
Now we want to show you how we run a sample in the new instrument. We scan a barcode, and now we are ready to run. You can see an example of a blood run on the new A2 instruments. We can see how the populations look distinguishable in the scatter, which is what we like to see. Here we have an example of the high-ready control. This control was actually manufactured by the manufacturing department here in the US. We're happy to see that in this new iteration of the instrument, we can see a clear separation between the RBC population and the retic analog population.
Yeah, so with this new technology platform, we really, will take a step forward in having new technology. But of course, it's all about money, and I think so. In addition to kind of the additional benefits for the users and the connected instruments, it will also give us operational improvements when we move into a new technology platform, and we will move all our products to use the same, technologies. So it will really help us with being more efficient both in production, but also in terms of bringing new innovation to market as we launch this platform. This product has been not only about building technology, but we have also kind of increased the capabilities of the company when it comes to developing new products. So this is, the first release will just be the starting point of the benefit of this platform, and we will come up with additional releases. And the development of new products will be much faster when you have up-to-date technology and everything in good order. And of course, the benefit of this is of course that we can address the entire 5-part market. And we talked about how important we see this shift going from 3-part to 5-part. So becoming a complete 5-part supplier will really help our growth. And it will also help our distributor to have a wider portfolio, so they can actually capture more customers. And of course, for us, it's also important that we can really attract some of the high-end, the best distributors in the industry. And they, of course, want to make sure that and see that we have a pipeline of new products coming. Bear in mind that everything in healthcare and life science, it's when we talk about rapid changes, it's a shift that takes 7-8 years because it takes a long time to shift. But that's the kind of horizon we need to have when we develop the markets and we work with our distributors. And of course, we will with this also be able to penetrate new markets And with this, when we modernize our product platform, we will also move more sales into some of the more mature markets, such as Europe and North America, where the pricing and margins are better. So, looking very positive to the future, both short term with some of the initiatives that we are driving, but also longer term. So this platform will start to generate significant revenues in 2025. But looking at our performance, as you know, it's been a couple of tough years, and with a lot of headwinds. First, the pandemic, where there was the testing in the decentralized market stopped during the pandemic, and then following that we had the supply chain issues. The good thing, I think, is some of the headwinds that we've seen in the last few years is regarding logistics and supply chain. It has really normalized. So I think we could take that headwind off the plate, which is really good. Of course, the geopolitical instability is something we have to live with here and now, and we have to master. Last year, Russia's war in Ukraine created a lot of, for us it had a direct effect because we had business in Russia that is now declining. But overall, the markets in Europe didn't perform as expected. And we now see that there is some headwinds when it comes to emerging markets, their currency. There are some limitations on payments. So we see that there are some delays in business. So that's something we have to live with. Another big effort we did last year was to implement the new European regulatory framework, the IVDR. And that was actually a big effort for us that we now have behind us. We were one of the few companies that both had our QMS, the quality management system, approved with IVDR by the notified body. But we also took our 3-part products through the complete process. So they are now CE marked with IVDR. And if you have studied us, we also had some 2 FDA inspections last year. And the one in Sweden passed very well, with very small observations. And we had a number of observations in the US that we have now addressed. So I really feel that we can really spend time on other things going forward. So of course, if you look at what we're doing now in our operational priorities, we want to grow our business. We want to increase the value of our users and distributors. And we're doing that by investing in new product portfolio, but also in the way we work and how we collaborate with our distributors. One priority is, of course, to industrialize and bring this new product platform to market. But we also have a lot of focus now on improving the profitability and the cash flow short term. We did some headcount reductions in the beginning of the year. We have a efficiency and saving program in place that's starting to deliver. And we increase digitization. We're also working with our team. When you operate in this pretty volatile environment, it's important to have an agile, customer-focused, passionate team. And I think we've done some good changes in the last 6 months. We have done some changes in the executive team. We have elevated how we work with talent management and driving performance culture in the company. And we're really building this clinical and technology expertise to take Boule to the next level. And of course, a very important, we should not bear in mind that there has been a couple of years we haven't been able to travel, where there's been very little attendance to trade shows. Now you can actually go out and meet customers, and that really is creating both opportunities, but I think it's also creating a lot of energy in the entire organization, not only for us, but also for our distributors. So that's really helping. We are determined to hit our financial targets, and I will push until we do. We're not there yet, but we see that we're moving in the right direction. To make sure that this happens, we have a passionate and experienced team, which I think with relevant experience to make sure that we can deliver on the different priorities. And we're also guided by a very seasoned and experienced board. So I'm very positive about the future. So going forward, we have a number of business development activities short term when it comes to new partnerships in Europe for veterinary. We're signing up new distributors in Middle East and Africa. We are launching a new product in the veterinary space. And our long-term growth and profitability will be driven by our new product platform. So thank you very much for your attention, and I open up for questions.
Thank you very much, Jesper, for such a nice presentation. And now we have time for one question. So I would like to ask you now. I mean, you showed this very nice video of your new part, the 5-part instrument, and I was wondering, like, now your system will be more advanced, more digital, and you're saying that you will aim to target more mature markets, let's say US, European market, but also you're seeing quite a good momentum in countries like, well, in regions of Africa and Middle East. What are the plans for these regions? Are you still planning to push the 3-part instrument even if the 5-part instrument is out? Or what is the market strategy you have there?
No, I think we will continue. I mean, the 3-part market is really, the 3-part instruments are dominating the decentralized market. And in particular in the emerging markets, the 3-part instruments dominate. So we will continue to push, and we will continue to sell the 3-part instruments, and the 5-part instruments are coming on top of that. And that's, and then of course we will push more for the new products into the more mature markets.
Okay, now that's clear. And one last question to close down. You are saying that your target for the year is to increase profitability, and you're running this savings program to achieve that. Could you explain us or give us some color? What are the actual plans you're moving forward in order to increase this profitability for the year?
So the focus is a lot to reduce OPEX and being more efficient. So we have taken out people and we are changing the way we're working to be more efficient, to do more with less. But there's also a lot of focus on reducing the cost of goods sold, particularly for the instruments. We have had now a number of years when it had a very difficult supply situation. So a lot of the focus from purchasing and development has to just keep the wheel spinning. Now, when the market is normalizing, we have initiatives to reduce COGS. So that will be the main activity this year.
Great, very clear. Jesper, thank you very much for being here today with us and for your nice presentation.
Thank you very much.